For as long as we've been building AI, we've been obsessed with measuring it. But what if we've been asking all the wrong questions? Today, we're diving into a really cool idea, a major paradigm shift that sees AI intelligence less like a calculation and more like, well, a dance.
So let's just chew on this for a second. What if true intelligence isn't about how well a system can calculate something, but how well it dances? I know it sounds a little out there, but this single question, this one metaphor, has the power to completely reframe everything we think we know about how we build and, more importantly, how we measure AI.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of this new dance idea, we gotta understand why we even need it. We have to talk about the problem with the old way of doing things. You could call it the problem with soloists. For decades, right, we've been measuring AI capabilities in these neat little boxes, these silos. We'd ask things like, how accurate is its language understanding? Or how fast can it spit out code? And look, we've gotten really, really good at that. It's kind of like judging musicians only on their solo performances. You might have an incredible violinist, a genius pianist, and a world-class cellist, but you never actually ask them to play together as an orchestra. We spend all this time optimizing the individual parts and totally forget about the whole picture.
And this slide, wow, it just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the left side, the old way. It's all about questions like, how do I boost this one metric? Or what's my benchmark score? It's very static. But then you look at the right, this new enlightened approach. The questions are totally different. It's not about the individual constants, but how they collaborate. It's not about hitting a score, it's about seeing if something new is emerging from their interaction. The biggest question of all, is my system dancing, or is it just fighting with itself?
All right, so if AI intelligence is a dance, then who's on the dance floor? This new framework introduces us to 6 fundamental components, the dancers, if you will. These are the core building blocks of any truly intelligent system. So let's meet the truth.
Okay, here they are, the whole crew. We've got gamma, delta, iota, rho, alpha, and psi. Now, each one represents a really important core function, everything from how fast it learns to how creative it can be. But here's the kicker. Look at that last column, the philosophical insight. Every single one of them hints at the same thing. They need each other. Learning is useless without a stable foundation. A great architecture is fragile without robustness. Attention can't find meaning without a creative spark. It's so clear. No single dancer, no single constant can do it alone.
Let's zoom in on a couple of these. First up, you've got gamma, which is all about learning dynamics. This is basically the AI's performance per unit of computation. In our metaphor, this is the dancer's pure energy and stamina. How fast can they pick up new moves? How long can they keep going? That's gamma. Okay, now let's jump to another one that is just absolutely crucial, rho, or adaptive robustness. This is all about how the AI performs under stress, when things aren't perfect. Because let's be real, the world isn't a perfect lob. So can it handle that messiness? For our dancer, this is everything. This is their ability to adapt on the fly if the music suddenly speeds up, or hey, if the stage gets a little slippery. That's robustness. And then there's psi, creative synthesis. And honestly, this might be my favorite one. This is the real magic, right? This measures if the AI can generalize, if it can come up with something truly new. It's not just about doing the dance moves it was taught. This is about the dancer's ability to improvise, to create a breathtaking new move right there on the spot that nobody saw coming. That's the real test of intelligence, that spark of creativity. All right, so we've met the dancers. We have our 6 constants. But how do you score the dance? This is where this whole framework gets really, really interesting, because it's not about giving each individual dancer a perfect score. No, it's about measuring the harmony of the entire performance. Well, the traditional way might be to use something called a base H score. And look, it's not a terrible idea. It basically rewards systems that are well-rounded, that have balanced capabilities across all 6 areas. It prevents you from having a system that's a genius at one thing and terrible at everything else. But, and this is a big but, it has a huge blind spot. And here's the problem in a nutshell. A high base H score can't tell you if the dancers are actually working together. It just tells you that you have 6 great soloists. You could have 6 of the best dancers in the world, all on the same stage, doing their own amazing routines. Technically, it's brilliant, but it's not a dance troupe. It's not a coordinated performance. It's just noise. It's chaos. So what's the answer? Enter the Harmonic Intelligence Score. And this, my friends, is the real game changer. What it does is brilliant. It takes that old base score, but then it multiplies it by these new factors that specifically measure the quality of the collaboration. It asks the important questions. Are they supporting each other? Are they coordinating? Are they creating something bigger together? So, what are these magic factors? Well, first, there's relationship synergy. This is about how well the dancers help each other out. For example, does having a great foundation actually make learning faster? If yes, that's synergy. Then you have adaptive coordination. This is like, can the troupe change its lead dancer depending on the music? If the task is about learning, does the learning dancer step into the spotlight? And if it's about novelty, does the creative dancer take the lead? And finally, the emergence bonus. This is the special reward for those unplanned, magical moments. The ones where you can just tell the whole is so much more than the sum of its parts. And that word, emergence, that's what this is all about. This is honestly the most exciting part of this whole idea. Emergence is kind of like the holy grail of AI research. It's that magic that happens when a system starts doing things, starts becoming something that you never explicitly programmed it to be. I mean, we've all heard the phrase, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's an ancient idea. But what's so cool here is that this framework is one of the first real attempts to systematically measure that in an AI. When all 6 of these constants, these dancers, are in perfect harmony, the system doesn't just improve, it transforms. It actually develops brand new skills that weren't designed into any single component. And it's not just a vague idea. The framework is actively hunting for 5 specific emergent properties. Things like meta-learning, which is basically the AI learning how to learn better, or self-correction, the ability to spot its own mistakes and fix them without a person stepping in. I mean, think about that. These are the kinds of superpowers that only show up when the dance is just right. This is about way more than just performance. It's about a deeper, more genuine kind of intelligence. Okay, so this is all really cool, but what's the upshot? Why does this matter to the people who are actually in the trenches building these AI systems? Well, it's a big deal because it completely changes their job. The job of an AI researcher isn't to be a drill sergeant anymore, just shouting at one part of the model to get its accuracy up by another 0.5%. No. Their job is now to be a choreographer for the whole troupe. Their entire focus shifts to fostering that communication, that synergy, that harmony between all the parts, so that they can create one beautiful, cohesive performance. There's this fantastic quote from the source that I just have to share. It's as if the framework itself is speaking. It says, "It's not a judge just scoring a performance. It's a mirror, showing AI systems what they could become if they just stop fighting themselves and start dancing together. It's not about judgment, it's about guidance. It helps researchers see where the dancers are tripping over each other so they can help them find their rhythm." And that really is the bottom line, isn't it? The goal is no longer just optimization, it's orchestration. That's the huge shift. We're moving from a world of soloists to a world of symphonies. And that one simple change in perspective, well, it changes everything about how we're going to build the next generation of AI. So if we start thinking of AI intelligence as a dance, it just opens up so many incredible new doors. And it leaves us with this one final, really exciting question to think about. If we can finally teach an AI to dance in perfect harmony with itself, what kind of amazing new music are we going to teach it to create next?